And then there are observers watching. So every time you stop, stall, put your foot down, penalty points are added to your timing. And the guy with the least penalty points is the winner. So I said, can I enter? They said, yeah, sure, pay 10 rupees and enter. I said, what are the prerequisites? And they said, nothing. Have you got a rider's license? I said, yes. Then he said, just quote your number, fill in the form and enter. And sure enough, I entered, and for my luck, I won the race. Hi, my name is c.k.Chinnappa. I am from Bangalore. I started my racing career in 1973. From 73, non-stop I went on till 2007. I have been in various categories of events such as track racing, rallying, drag meet, hill climb, autocross, motocross. These are the things which I have covered in the entire 40 years of my racing career. And right now I retired, and I do administrative work. I am a senior steward at the federation level, and I go for all the major national events all over the country, where I go as a steward to administer the running of the event very smoothly. Basically, we were farmers. We had held a lot of land, 120-acre property, and we used to run a dairy farm. And it so happened that there were times when servants would play up, and then the job of distributing the milk used to fall on my head. My brother used to get the milking and all that done, bottling of the milk and all that. I used to carry the milk on my motorcycle with my man Friday sitting at the back, and we used to go door to door supplying milk. It so happened one day when I was just filling up fuel in a petrol bunk, I saw this guy with a Java motorcycle with a number plate on it, and out of curiosity I asked him, what is it? He says, it's a motorcycle race. I said, where is it happening? He said, it's Bannerghatta. Then I said, can we come and watch? He said, sure, nobody can stop you, you can come, it's open in a public place. I went there, I saw all guys in fancy bikes and going up and down the hillock. I asked one of the organizers, what does this entail? He said, no, it is an observed trial wherein every time you put your foot down, there's a penalty point, and if the guy with the least penalty points will be declared the winner. There is no time restraint, only there's a stipulated time of 5 minutes. You have to finish the course in 5 minutes. And then there are observers watching. So every time you stop, stall, put your foot down, penalty points are added to your timing. And the guy with the least penalty points is the winner. So I said, can I enter? They said, yeah, sure, pay 10 rupees and enter. I said, what are the prerequisites? And they said, nothing. Have you got a rider's license? I said, yes. Then he said, just quote your number, fill in the form and enter. And sure enough, I entered, and for my luck, I won the race. So when I came back home, my father was shocked. He said, you spent $10. He gave me a slap, in fact, and said, you know how much cattle feed you could have bought for the animals. And then in the evening, I think he regretted what he did was wrong. He congratulated me. And that is how my racing career started, from being a glorified farmer to a glorified bike rider. See, even that came as a surprise to me. We used to do cafe racing on MG Road, Brigade Road and all that, and we used to have a circuit, and the guy who used to lose had to buy us vada sambar and coffee. So it so happened a very close friend of mine, Satish Balraj, disappeared for a week. We thought he is busy because he was doing his flying training and all that. Maybe he's gone to Pondicherry for his flying training or whatever it is. And then suddenly he lands up on a Tuesday, the next Tuesday, with a trophy, and he says, I just won the Sholavaram races. We said, what the hell is Cholavaram? Where the hell is this? What is it? We were all shell-shocked. Then he said, it is bike races, you don't know about it. I said, what? Bike races? You never told us about it. He said, yeah, suddenly somebody tempted me, I took off. And I was wondering, we used to beat him, the leather out of him in all the races on the road racing. I said, if this guy can win, so why can't I? When I can beat him here, I'm sure I can go and win there also. So I came back and told my dad about it, and then dad said, son, you know, $4,000 for a new bike, little difficult. But since we had made a layout and he was selling sites, so okay, I'll somehow get you a bike. And sure enough, within a week, he bought me a bike. I went to, at that time we had the Jayaram races on. So I could not participate because I was not a member of any club. You had to be a member of a club to ride in the clubman's race. Clubman's race is a race only meant for newcomers, where even the center stand is not allowed to be removed. Only the headlight glass and the indicator glasses and breakable things could be removed from a bike. And you had to race it bog stock as it came from the showroom. So this Satish Balraj rode it, and he came third, I think, second or third, I think third. And I said, if this guy can do it, it's fantastic, let me try. So the next year I went to Sholavaram. I was nowhere. They pasted me because those days they used to club all the classes together, the 175 up to 175, up to 260 and up to 360. They used to club the bikes together and run the race because of time restraint. And I was very disappointed. 2 years I did Karnataka 1000 rally. The first Karnataka 1000 rally was in 1975. I did all these things and I was not very successful. Somewhere in small events I used to win a trophy here, there, and Dad also used to wonder, has this guy got a capacity to me spending so much of money, and whether he'll be able to succeed in motorsports. My big break came in 1978, wherein at our garage, we used to call it speed shop, where our bikes used to be tuned. A friend of mine, Pradeep Kanolkar, he bought a brand new classic, Yezdi Classic, and here's a moneyed guy. None of us could afford it. So we were all glamour. It was glamorous for us to just sit on the bike and take a photograph or this thing, take a ride. And he said, why don't you race this? I said, I'll have to try and accumulate money for going to all the way to Sholavaram, entry fees, for fuel, for stay. And I asked my dad, and he said, okay, I'll give you 500 rupees. So he gave me 500 rupees. We went to Madras Motorsports Club, and then there Mr. Pramod Chandhok, he was the secretary of MMSC. He gives me a slip. He says, best of luck. You go next door to Armstrong Shock Absorbers. They'll give you a set of shock absorbers free of cost. I mean, it was like a lottery for us. Then somebody else came, gave us a slip and said, you go to the tire shop. At 50%, they'll give you tires. I said, I can't afford it. He says, no man, 50%. So take one new tire. You'll get it free of cost. So I went, collected that. And I raced, and it was a big grid of, I wouldn't know, 30, 40 bikes in the SD class. I won it. Hands down, I won it. And then I came back. As soon as I came back, my friend said, you used my bike, I need the shock absorber, I'll take the tire. I said, boss, do what you want, take whatever you want. I'm so happy, I won a national event. Munishappa was my initial tuner. I mean, he was the first and the last of the tuners for me in the Rajdoot modified class, where we used to have 50 lap races and 25 lap races at Cholavaram. Unlike today, you just have 8 laps or 10 laps, and you don't see part of the vehicles also finishing. It had to be man and machine. It was more of endurance of the man and the machine, and how you looked after the machine. I mean, you could do the fastest lap in a lap, and the next lap you will be standing on the roadside with a blown engine or whatever it is. So you had to think and ride in those days. And our technologies were very, very poor in those days. We used to ride with bell-bottom pants and ankle-length boots. The stipulated rule was that, and gloves, full gloves, hand gloves, and ISI helmet. Another close friend of mine, Farad Karyappa, he had one of the fastest Lambretta scooters in the country at Cholavaram. He has one in Cholavaram, Bombay, Juhu, I think. Juhu, that was in Bombay. Then Agram circuit in Bangalore. Then he has raced in Sri Lanka and won. He had one of the fanciest and fastest scooters ever built, and he was a tuner himself. And I remember one incident in the 70s when we were all there at the scrutiny. The local guys who had entered on the scooter category, they noticed that his scooter did not have a fan, the engine cooling fan. And in their local languages said, see, his scooter is running so fast because he doesn't have a fan. Now all these guys removed their fans and came onto the starting grid. And sure enough, before the first corner, there were about 10 vehicles parked up on the roadside with the engine seized. That was one of the most hilarious things that could have happened, which I witnessed.